ADUs are the worst thing to happen to the housing affordability movement. And the worst part about it is that their advocates want to pretend like they're doing something good. In fact, ADU builder Villa sponsored a poll saying that 20% of homeowners want to add an ADU because they want to help create affordable housing in their community. Really? 20%? They want to do it to create affordable housing, not to line their own pockets or create something beneficial for them? Yeah. And it's not just the builders and the ADU homeowners that are saying that ADUs are great. Cities and states are too. From the California Gov website, we can see that they say accessory dwelling units, ADUs, have been known by many names. No matter what you call them, ADUs are an innovative, affordable, and effective option for adding much needed housing in California. Are they though? No. And so I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why ADUs are not all that they're cracked up to be for the affordable housing movement in the US. And as a bonus, I'm going to tell you why it's even worse if you are a non-homeowner and why non-homeowners should even care the most. Before we get into that, this is Clear Money Tea. Thanks for stopping by. Please like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. First things first, with ADUs, housing becomes more unaffordable. ADUs increase property values. Porch.com has a study listing that homes with ADUs sell on average about 35% more than homes without an ADU. This is great for a homeowner and quite frankly makes complete sense. You're adding more square footage to your property, and this increased square footage can be for a family member to stay in, or you can rent it out for increased income. But on the other side of the equation is that housing becomes more unaffordable for those looking to get into a property. Like, can you imagine how annoying it can be? You're looking for a house and you see great income opportunity in your backyard. And it's like, no, not everyone is trying to rent out their backyards, and people just really want a place to live. And it's becoming, much more difficult to find that. And these properties, they don't always even all have ADUs. You'll see in the listings where they say a great opportunity to build an ADU or plans approved to build an ADU. And just that alone, they're asking for an increased selling price. And so I want you to imagine you can buy a house and it's priced at $550K. With an ADU added onto it, it's worth $700K. Well, that means if your max that you can afford is $550K, that means you don't buy anything. And if you can afford a little bit more than $550K, maybe let's say $550K was your, optimal budget, you find a house without an ADU, but because there's less homes that are in your range, because some of them now have ADUs, these ADU-less houses are now selling for about $600K. So now, you need to go outside of your budget, or you just don't buy anything. And that's what's happening. So that's number 1 out the way. And number 2, there's an opportunity cost to building ADUs. We're spending all this time streamlining the process for ADUs when there's much more effective ways to increase housing, such as splitting lots or allowing increased development on existing lots. So as you can imagine, it can be much more cost effective to build a 4 or a 10 unit multifamily housing unit rather than just building one ADU in someone's backyard. And with these multiple units, you can actually get multiple people who can now move in. And in the case of building condos, let's say that you have more people who are now becoming homeowners, and that puts them in control of their own property and a little bit more in control of what they're going to be paying. So that's someone who's is going to be now able to tap into equity, whereas before they wouldn't be able to afford anything. With ADUs, really it's just the homeowner who has all the upside and really just perpetuating like a feudal system. So yeah, that's what you get with that. And so I'm not saying that it's bad to streamline ADUs. I'm just saying there is an opportunity cost to everything that we're doing. And quite frankly, we're using ADUs as an excuse to not do the actual work that is politically unpopular to do. People should have the option, if they want to sell their lot to developers who can build denser housing, people should have the opportunity to develop their lots in a cost-effective manner as well. Building these kinds of properties in a neighborhood doesn't have to dramatically change the neighborhood character. You can have a mix of single-family houses and condos and apartments, all while retaining a pretty unified look. So let's take a look at this street view here. It's a property in California. So this is actually a 4-unit property, not a single-family house. So you can see you can have that, still character that people like, and you can still have units that are, affordable. And so we can see this, on the other hand, is a street of single family homes. The houses are just huge. This is just for one family. In my mind, let people live in their huge ass houses if they want to, but also let people sell their lots or develop their lots and build cost-effective multi-units on a lot too, if they'd like to as well. Give people the opportunity to do what they want to do with their properties. All right, so let's get on to our last order of business. So ADUs are not a substitute for building housing. One of the strongest claims that you'll hear from people is that ADUs are going to help solve the housing crisis. But how true is that? So in California, half of ADUs are not even in use. And we also have a stat that 34% of ADUs are being used for some things other than
an apartment.
this could mean a home office space, storage, for your tap dancing lessons, just really is not in use as for a rental. And when you do have the ones being rented out, that can be a mix of short-term housing, which could be Airbnb or Vrbo, or, your long-term traditional rentals. As you know, like an Airbnb is not exactly solving the housing affordability crisis itself either. So there's that too. And this doesn't mean that people shouldn't be allowed to have an Airbnb in their backyard if they want to, but let's just be honest with what we're doing. You are quite frankly being a disingenuous liar or being willfully ignorant if you think ADUs should be at the forefront of solving the housing affordability movement. Because a 500 square foot studio unit renting for $2,000 a month is not it. Whereas a 1,500 square foot unit on a lot that used to be only a single family home, now we're talking a little bit. All right, guys, so I promised the bonus. Here is the bonus. So you have all of that in mind that we just talked about, and you might be like, well, why should I even care? I'm not building anything in my backyard. I don't have a backyard. So whatever they want to do, that's their own prerogative. And there is still something being rented out. So having something is better than nothing. So why should I even care? Well, this is why you should care, because you're paying for it. You are paying for someone else's ADU, and you might look at your bank account and say, like, no, I'm fucking not. Well, yes, you are, because you are subsidizing it. All right, so let's take a look. NYC has a pilot going on where they're giving up to $395K in grants for people to build an ADU on their unit, and that money is coming from you. And let's keep in mind, this is like actual stupidity. You're giving away almost $400K so someone can build a unit in their backyard. Like, maybe just allow people to develop lots, like this vacant gas station lot that could have become 1,000 units, but was stopped because people wanted to posture about gentrification. Yeah, that's pretty much like cutting off your nose to spite your face. So yeah, maybe do that instead of paying people 400K to build ADUs in their backyard. And of course, it's not just New York. We have on the other coast, we have California, who is giving up to 40K in grants to build ADUs. And remember, again, a grant is money from the taxpayer's pool, and you are the taxpayer. That means you, if you're in California, are paying for it. And California and these other states, they'll be like, well, hold up, we have income requirements. It's not just anyone that we're giving this money out to. But look, okay, let's be honest. At the end of the day, people who own these houses have the money. They can tap into their equity if they want to. And, just because someone on paper isn't making 200K W-2 salary doesn't mean that they don't have the money. Doesn't mean they don't have the investments. It doesn't mean that they don't have a property that's worth $2 million that they could tap into the equity to and build their ADUs if they want with that. Why does everyone else have to pay for it? I think many people would agree that that's not how we should be solving the housing affordability crisis. So speaking of grants and loans, in California, in San Diego, they're offering up to 250K in loans for building an ADU. So, and once again, you might think, well, it's a loan. What's the problem? The problem is that if you take a look, the loans are 1%. And last time we checked, if anyone has opened the newspaper, gone to a news site, just walked out the front door, you can tell that rates aren't at 1% anymore. Market rates, what are we at? Around anywhere from 6 to 8%. So a 1% rate means that we're subsidizing it. Once again, taxpayers subsidizing people building ADUs in their backyard when they should be having the equity to be able to tap into. So that delta between that 1 and that 7, 8%, that is money that we're losing out on. We could be putting that money in a savings account, or how government should be spending money is using it for what is going to, maximize better returns for the community. So that could be things like, I don't know, investing in childcare, investing in public transit, investing in figuring out how you're going to solve the actual affordability crisis, things like that. But instead, we're spending up to 250K giving people, subsidized loans. So there's that. At the end of the day, build your ADU if that's what you want to do. Many people, if they had the opportunity, they would do that. I would do that as well. I would take advantage of everything that was available to me and I would build what I want to do, because I'm selfish. And yeah, quite honestly, just don't pretend to be fucking Robin Hood when you're really just exploiting the system for personal gain. Because you're not helping the housing affordability unit just by building an ADU in your backyard. And our tax dollars shouldn't be subsidizing wealthy people building a home office in their backyard. All right, thanks for watching Clear Money Tea. Please like, comment, and subscribe.